Okay, now that we're back going, that's what I should get out of here. Let's minimize that and minimize that. Okay, we have the consent agenda. 4.1, approval of minutes of February 8th, 2016 regular council meeting. 4.2, approval of minutes of the January 4th, 2016 Mayor Commission for a lifetime. 4.3, additional claims for the month of February. 4.4, approval of resolution 222-16-8, acceptance of baseball club donations. 4.5, approval of the LG 510 City or County Annual Report, 10% lawful gambling contribution fund. 4.6, approval of the Sheriff's Department report for a month ending January 6, 2016. And 4.7, approve resolution 222-16-9, authorizing purchase of real property at 323 Shimcourt Street. Any of those things need to be pulled off for further discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made second to approve this consent agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Public Works staff report.
Mr. Mayor, council members, you have Public Works staff report in your packet. Kyle is also present in the audience if you had any questions, or I don't know if he has something he'd like to report to you.
Where'd it go? Up there. There was something I was gonna ask Kyle about, but I forgot what it was.
You guys' desk cleaned, if that was what you were looking for.
It's messy right now. It takes me a little while to do that. I'm like, I gotta put that myself.
I think there was something that was rather, I don't know. Any questions for Kyle? Okay, then moving on, we have city engineer.
Mr. Mayor, council members, you also have Dave Martini's report in your packet. Dave's not present tonight, but if there's any questions you had, I'd be happy to convey those and get answers for you.
Okay, any questions directed to Dave? If not, then, city administration.
Mr. Mayor, council members, you also have my report in your packet, along with the check reconciliation of the fund balances as I've given you. If you have any questions about any of my activities for the past month, I'd be happy to answer them.
And this, on the compost site, this individual you met with, that's from the league?
That's correct, he's an attorney for me.
Okay. I guess maybe a question back to Dave Martinez. The wetland restoration, are they done with any kind of piping they had to do in there now? Is that?
My understanding is they're done with all the piping that's across from the lumberyard, but now they'll have to do the rest from the Dakota Trail to the park, needs to be completed yet.
Oh, through the park here?
Not all the way through the park, just to the park across the McPadden property.
Oh, okay, okay.
And because there is pipe in the park, but they have to
Okay.
make that last connection yet.
I see.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't had a pay request yet for what's been, put in already, but we haven't.
Okay, well, whatever, so. Okay, any other questions for Luann?
No, I just thought of something. I saw they put sand at the volleyball court. So, are they putting like something around, like a board around it, or no, it's just open to the grass?
Yeah, it's just open. Still gotta, Sean's gonna come back and regrade it and everything this spring.
And then you'll seed it?
They're all seeded, so that's gonna come in maybe. I'll get a few prices, so.
But there's ropes and stuff that are going around it, right?
Going around the stand?
Yeah, like to mark the court, out of bounds ropes.
I don't think so. Nothing came with it.
Well, if they ever want a league, they're gonna need the ropes.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the total border, it's like the that, you know, so like if it hits, the ball hits the line.
Oh, right.
Close to boundary, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, Luann? Okay, moving on, number 6, water and sewer operators, presentation of annual report on the wastewater treatment facility. Greg?
Evening, Mayor, members of the council.
Greg, would you turn on the microphone, please? Thank you.
How's that? Evening, Mayor, members of the council. We have before you tonight my annual report of operation and maintenance for the wastewater treatment facility, conducted by myself and Mayor Public Works employee Kyle Coontz. In September of 2015, the latest phase of the wastewater treatment facility began its 10th year, that's a typo, it should be the 10th year of operation. And since that time, we've always continued to produce a high-quality effluent that well exceeded the permit limits established by the MPCA. The City of Mayor and its wastewater facility staff has received a total of 14 operational awards. This year, we will be receiving our 15th award, and Kyle and I will be accepting it at the annual wastewater treatment conference in March at the Northland Inn at Brooklyn Center. Listed below, put some items of interest, such as the current budget status for the year-end, plant removal rates, annual flows, biosolids removed, required maintenance, as well as reports and sampling are also included. And as we did last year, I included some cost-saving ideas further into the report. For the 2015 budget, wastewater treatment portion of the sewer budget was $183,233. The year-end actuals came in at $155,425, or 15% under budget. Most of the line items that came in under budget, the largest contributors were the biosolids removal and electric utilities. The 2015 flows for the wastewater treatment facility were 46.31 million gallons, and that was compared to 50.57 million gallons in 2014. Biosolids removal was also less in 2015. It was 202,500 gallons compared to 249,273 gallons in 2014. As we've been consistently doing since startup, our removal rates are at 99% on both BOD removal, which is biochemical oxygen demand, which is the strength of the wastewater coming in, and also our total suspended solids are at 99%. This year, in 2015, Council adopted a 20-year capital improvement plan for the wastewater treatment facility. Capital improvements for the plan are identified in the annual wastewater treatment facility budget, and they're listed as in the plan. As far as cost-saving projects this year, we contracted Carver County to assist us cutting the dikes out there at the wastewater treatment facility. You know, that was hard to cut. We had kind of an old piece of equipment to cut them, which was kind of cumbersome to put on and everything, but now the county agreed to come by as they're passing and doing the roadsides. The contractor to come in, swing in, and do the inside dikes of the wastewater plant, so that'll save us from having to purchase any additional equipment to do that. Also obtained new quotes on aluminum sulfate, which is a chemical used for phosphorus reduction at the plant. And that new vendor this year obtaining chemicals from right now, it will save us an average of $1,200 a year on chemical costs. I think I spoke to this and gave out a memo last year on it, but I thought I'd put it in just for reference. We did contract Xcel Energy to take advantage of what's called an off-peak power program using our auxiliary generators. At specific times during the summer, they would call on us, we would go totally offline and use our auxiliary generators, which in some cases would be a cost savings to the city, but after we looked at it, looked at our expenditures, fuel costs and everything else, the big part of the program exceeded what the city is going to be realizing, so we kind of scrapped that idea. We are kind of on the limit of that program. You need 50, a little over fifty KW to take advantage of 50 KW with power consumption, and that's just basically what we're at, almost about 51 KW. So that's the, really good pan out. We also discontinued an annual industrial discharge permit for biosolids removal with Met Council. We had 3 different permits for biosolids removal at our plant, with Met Council, City of Lester Prairie, and with the City of Hutchinson. We had not taken advantage of the one with the City of, Metropolitan Council. It was fairly expensive to discharge more biosolids with them, so it was a cost savings of $850 to just discontinue that permit. We'll still have 2 agreements with 2 other cities that we can take advantage of. We're currently going with the City of Lester Prairie, and that's worked out great for us, so. And that agreement is only $100 annually compared to $850, so. The rest of the report is the, maintenance repair at the wastewater treatment facility on a daily. I put these down on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannually, and annual basis. These are just constants that we do pretty much every year. So instead of put them in the annual maintenance repair log, I just identified them here because they're a constant. And so it wouldn't be repetitive in the report. The last thing that I have is just a month-by-month report of items that we've taken care of, maintenance that we've done at the wastewater plant. So if you have any questions, I'm not going to go through those month by month, but if you have any questions on any of the months or any of the items that we did, I'd be happy to, explain them or go into detail on it. But other than that, that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have on the report.
Yeah, question, there's probably kind of be an offline kind of thing, but, at the Governor's Safety Conference a couple weeks ago, and the big thing was cyber-terrorism and, SCADA-related, systems. How are we doing in that? How you doing?
We actually upgraded our SCADA system in 2014 to put a all new SCADA system in, which includes new firewalls, everything, so that's just been upgraded. So we should be good. I would expect that, 5-6 years, and we'll be looking at upgrading the SCADA system again. And the new belt and whistle that will go along with the new SCADA system at that time, and anything else that we might have to put in as far as security.
Gotcha.
The water side, yeah.
So there was a pretty good discussion about it, and, there was a lot of cities that are really concerned about, infrastructure and, accessing them.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
They've been, pretty detailed through Minnesota Rural Water and through the Safety Council with us also as far as what we should be doing out there, not only SCADA systems, but tile, fail, water tower security, all that kind of stuff goes hand in hand, so.
All right, good to hear, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Just curious, how many other cities receive as many awards like you have?
I think, there's a total, I think I did see it, and don't quote me on it, but I think the total this year is around 200 cities. So there's a fair number of them that have received them. I think we're in the middle of the pack. I do know that a colleague of mine that's retired used to run the city of Breezy Point, up in northern Minnesota. He had the longest standing awards. He had, in fact, I think last year they had 32. That was, and there were the most of any plant. But we've had, like last year, we had that episode with some issues that we weren't able to receive it. But other than that, this plant has been outstanding. It's performed very well. So.
Good. Good job.
One other thing.
Operator has performed rather well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You also have before you tonight another memo that I provided. It's not listed on the agenda, but I included as part of my regular report, and that is a schedule for the wastewater treatment capital improvements. And what I did is everything that's listed in the capital improvement plan is also listed for 2016 is listed in your wastewater treatment facility budget. And what I did in this memo is I provided, those items. There's 9 items. What I did is list them, the replacement period, which I would expect to replace them during the year. And I also included the items that would be,
I'm not sure they have that, Greg.
oh, you don't?
I don't think we've got
I
it,
don't
no.
think we got it.
Okay.
So you can copy it and I'll give it to, or I'll copy it and give it to him.
You want to?
Sure.
Can we go over it?
Yep.
Is that good? Have them see it. Apologize for that.
No problem.
But anyway, just while she's making that up, what I did is these 9 items that are included in the wastewater treatment facility budget. I wanted to put out a timeline in which we were going to replace them, and I also wanted to identify the items that are underneath the city's purchasing policy. It's $5,000, which will allow staff and administrators to go ahead and give approval to move forward with these projects. And there's also three of them that are under the purchasing policy of $5,000. And they would require us to bring it back for council approval as we did them. So there's, I can quickly run through them. The dehumidifier, which is in the tertiary building, the effluent sampler, which is something that picks samples up. We're required to sample on an hourly basis during our sampling periods, take 24 hour deposit samples. That is scheduled for replacement in 2016. The handrail and walkway painting, elaborate a little bit on that one because we're looking at capital improvement plan. We identify that as a $53,000 cost item, and that's total replacement of the handrails and painting. And what I did in that line item, and I think you remember as we went through the capital improvement plan, the methodology that we used in the capital improvement plan for replacement was total replacement at the cost that was identified with an inflation factor at the time the plant was built. Each year when we go through this capital improvement plan, we're gonna look at each one of those items, and we're gonna determine whether or not it definitely needs to be replaced. Or if there's an alternative method that can save us money to do that, we're gonna present it to the council and take advantage of that. And that's what we did during the wastewater treatment facility budget last year. And that's why, instead of $53,000 for a total replacement, we looked at that item and we thought, you know, it's going to be, it's on a 10-year schedule to be replaced. So we're gonna look, we felt it was in good enough shape that we could have those items sandblasted, repainted with a two-part epoxy paint, and, you know, and give us another 10 years of operation at a good cost savings. So, and we're looking at each one of these items as we get to it in that year that it's identified replacement and doing that. So, the next item is the effluent pH and DO meter, the coarse bubble aeration modifications, and aeration piping, which is basically painting all the aeration piping up on those 2 basins out at the plant. A new water heater, which we only have one of, which is just a miracle that it's lasted for 10 years. So, still hanging in there, but it's probably on its last leg. And then also the VFDs, the variable frequency drives for the anaerobic basin mixer and the anoxic basin mixer, which these all may be Greek to you guys, but they're pieces of equipment. It looks like a large trolling motor is what it looks like, and it keeps liquid moving in the basins. So, I just wanted to provide this for you in case you had any questions. I'd like, if you have any, other way that you'd like to see them, but I think it gives us a consistent schedule in which to replace this. We're not doing it all in 1 month or 2 months and stretches things out in case we have any other kind of catastrophes that happen. We can, we'll have adequate funds to take care of it.
What's the $30,800?
$30,800 is the total dollar amount of all these items if you add them up. facility budget.
Mhm.
If you added all these up, they should total 30,800.
36,
That's identified under 640, 494, 800, 500, the capital outlay and the wastewater treatment facility budget.
I'm up to 43. What am I doing wrong? What do you get?
I just took it, hopefully I've got those identified right. I took them out of the capital improvement budget. And out of the.
Yeah, I think it's more than 30,000 too.
Mhm. I was up to
What did you get?
43. I was up to 43, just in the thousands, didn't add the smaller numbers.
6. 43 up.
Well, if that's the case, we've got an error in the wastewater budget because it's taken directly out of there. And I should have added these up again, and I put them out here, but I took them directly from the budget, so apologize for that. We'll definitely review it.
46 too.
Yeah, it's over. Over 43, I came with that just real roughly.
Eric's got 46 too. But that doesn't mean we didn't budget more than $30,000, right?
Well, we have, in that specific line item, yeah, so,
We did not budget for the 53,000 though.
no, we did not.
Okay. Well, let's figure that out.
We will figure that out, I apologize.
Maybe one of these numbers is wrong. Hopefully it's the aeration piping.
That would make sense if it would be. Sounds
You
like
think
that's
it's
the
wrong?
overage, but without, my calculator here, without,
Mhm.
but we'll definitely research it and get back, and we're not gonna overspend, so if something isn't identified in here, we'll bring it back to council, and that needs to be done,
Okay.
and, look for an amendment to that. This is an enterprise fund, so it's not like it can't be reallocated or brought back to council for additional costs increase if needed.
Okay.
I did bring along the sewer budget, that's listed as 30,800 in sewer budget under that line, so.
Huh. Maybe something came out of a different line item.
And it's also listed on my narrative too, so it's my math error, so I apologize.
All right.
Is there anything else?
Thanks for working hard at it.
I'll try to do better in my math.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
Retirement gets you rusty.
Like that.
Yeah.
Should be something on Google that I would get.
What do you wanna Google?
I'll Google something that will tell me that.
Okay.
A math corrector.
Okay, moving on. 7.1, approval of resolution 2/22/1610, supporting principles for reform of the Metropolitan Council, and I think we have people here to explain it to us, right, Luann?
Yeah, maybe, yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Start? Okay, Mr. Mayor, council members, the city has received the attached letter and request from the Carver County Board of Commissioners Chair Jim Issue. Carver County Board, Chanhassen Mayor, and other county leaders recently developed the attached principles which request reform of the Metropolitan Council. They see value in the Metropolitan Council, but would like to see a change to the governance structure. They have concerns about the Metropolitan Council's lack of accountability and their expansion of regional authority. Specifically, they would like to see the members of the Metropolitan Council be elected officials that would be appointed from the cities and the counties of the region. The cities and the counties would control the appointment process for the representative. Attached is further detail on the reasoning behind the requested change. Also attached to this memo is a letter from Metro Cities on the principles. Metro Cities does support the staggered terms for Met Council representatives. They support a nominating committee structure for Met Council appointments. So the Carver County Board of Commissioners is requesting the city's support by passing the attached resolution. And tonight we have County Administrator Hemsey and also Commissioner Tim Lynch present at the meeting. So, and I know that in your package, you were also giving the, PowerPoint presentation that was sent to me by, Administrator Hemsey.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good evening.
council members. Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate being here and would like to recognize that Commissioner Lynch is in the audience. You might say a few words when I wrap up here. I had them in the next slide if you want to move on, introducing this. But I'll kick it off and walk through just a handful of slides, because this is a pretty complicated, large issue. So I tried to do my best to break it down into the main components, which are what I'd like to talk about tonight. Back on Tim, though, for a minute, he did support a very similar resolution to what you see in your packet last week, along with the other board members that went through unanimously. So let me give a brief background, which would be the next slide, if you could.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, you're the one moving this?
Yes, I am.
Magic guy here?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Okay, so here's a brief background on...
unless you want the mouse, but
No, you're doing a nice job, thank you. Here's a brief background on the Metropolitan Governance. And really, this is about the Metropolitan Council. And many of you may be familiar with them, since many of you deal with them in various capacities, whether it be transportation related or maybe your water treatment system, et cetera. But this is not a new issue. Way back in 1967, the legislature created the Metropolitan Council, and with good intentions as a regional planning body. And we're not really questioning that regional nature of the governing body. We as a group, and what we're proposing, really we're proposing to keep that intact. But since 1967, and by the way, all along the way, I think there's been some pretty good controversy with the Metropolitan Council, and just about every year at the Capitol there are proposed changes in various shapes and forms to the body itself, the Metropolitan Council itself. But since then, their scope has certainly increased. They've gotten into a lot of different businesses beyond sort of their original intent. But the third bullet point here points out that they still are similar in nature in terms of their structure. So the council itself, the Metropolitan Council, the members of the council are appointees accountable directly to one individual, the governor. And that's a really fundamental concern that the group has raised, and really is resulting in the heart of the proposed change here, in that many in local government feel disconnected because of that, and that undermines the credibility of the council. So really it's a governance issue at its heart, and it relates to how they're structured, currently being, again, appointed by the governor. They are not elected officials. They are appointed by the governor and directly accountable to the governor. So you can move to the next slide, Mr. Mayor. So to fast forward to today, the Suburban County Group had been working together very hard, and this has been a smoldering issue for many, many years, but several years ago, you might remember Thrive 2040 being worked on, and the related transportation policy plan that the Met Council created. That really threw some gasoline on this fire in the sense that the suburban counties in particular felt really shortchanged in terms of the input that was possible during that process, and really the outcomes of that process. So that was another sort of impetus behind this coalition that was formed. But it wasn't just the counties, and that's one of the reasons we're here really is that we want to join arms with the city. So the counties want not only to talk to our legislatures with one voice, but with a unified voice. So to have the local governments come together at the Capitol with an identical proposal, preferably, and that second bullet point here saying the shared interest, showing that we do have this shared interest as local governments in reforming the council. And this group, by the way, Mayor Denny Laufenberger represented Carver County as a city representative on this working group. Commissioners Maluchnik and Workman represented Carver County. So each of the suburban counties had representatives working with their various cities in a several group session that resulted in this proposal. So we worked together, and that's what you see in front of you, the principles that are really high level intentionally. I'll speak a little bit about that, but the principles that are in front of you today. So just a couple more slides, Mr. Mayor, if you could move to the next one. So why reform? Really, it is about the governance issue, the non-elected individuals answering only to the governor, and of course this body has the power to levy taxes. I'm sure you all see your property tax statement showing up, and I'm sure you've noticed that the Metropolitan Council has a line item directly on your property tax bill, and certainly they're making decisions that impact all of us in local government, today and every day. I think, Luann, we included in the information we sent over to you, a list of every, other MPO in the nation, or the ones that we could find anyway.
And they have all that information,
Okay.
that they received all of that?
You know, interestingly enough, every other entity that's like this, has elected officials on their governing body. I think that in and of itself tells you something. So really the only planning organization like this in the country that it has appointed officials. And then finally, this was a few years ago, the Office of the Legislative Auditor, who is an independent agent of the state, recommended that the body had elected officials on it also. So if you could go to the next slide. So here are the principles that the working group came up with, and the first one is the key, appointing elected officials to the Metropolitan Council. You know, some people get confused by that by thinking we're asking that the Met Council has elected officials on it, there's an election that's run. That's not what we're asking. We're asking that current elected officials who hold office, like any one of you council members or a county board member, those would be the individuals that would be appointed to the Metropolitan Council. Cities would control their own appointments, counties would control our own appointments. You know, the details of that we intentionally stayed away from. You know, we would ask the legislature to work on that, to have equal geographic distribution of those representatives by population, et cetera. And there are a number of pieces that needed to be worked on, but the key principle here really is that both cities and counties, those elected officials at the local level, are then representing the metropolitan governance structure. Finally, I think one that probably most in local government agree upon, moving back to staggered terms in terms of the appointments so that they're not all due at once. That used to be the case a number of years ago, and the recommendation is to move back to staggered terms. And then number 5, representation from every metropolitan county government, so there's 7 metropolitan counties, so these representatives from each of those counties, and then voting on population. Now one more slide, if I could. I'll stand for questions. So what we're asking is that you join the coalition. We're not calling this, by the way, a county coalition or a city coalition. We're calling it a local government coalition. Intentionally, we don't want this to be county-centric or city-centric. We want to join together as local governments. We would, at the county level, work with you, package them up, and bring them to our legislators. And I've been talking to our legislative delegation about it, but this is just more than our own delegation. It's about others too, of course, and the governor, who has historically been blocking legislation that's come through. And you know, I think that is pretty obvious why. You know, there's some power and control issues involved in it, but really, I think that shows the necessity for a coalition to show the broad-based support behind a significant change like this. And then finally, you know, the legislature created this animal, and we'd ask that they'd reshape it. They are the keys to change. So we'd be asking our legislators to use our reform proposal sort of as guidance in terms of what they're shaping for the Metropolitan Council change. So, Tim, I don't know if you have any other comments on it. We spent a lot of time at the county level talking about this. You want to make any comments?
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'd just like to simply say that I think Minister Hemsey explained it very, very well. If we hope to make any kind of change, we need to have a unified voice going forward. And I think then, I hope that, I would stand for any questions, but want to have any rightful decisions or rightful changes, we really need a unified voice. So I just encourage you to vote for in appreciation of this resolution.
Any questions for these gentlemen?
It's nice to see a unified effort to push these changes or recommend these changes. That's something that's probably a long time coming, and I agree completely. Thank you for being a part of that movement.
I agree wholly that something needs to be done because it should not be appointed by the governor. That's
Yeah,
totally wrong.
yeah, I agree.
So if we're, I guess, any other questions, otherwise, if we're in support of this resolution, then we just would need a motion and to vote on it then. And I would say it's well worth our support.
I would make the motion that we,
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second it.
We have a couple of, okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution regarding the, changes or proposed changes to the Metropolitan Council. Any further discussion or questions?
How many, this is me, how many people are actually on it, like right now, like on the Met Council, like how many people are appointed?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah, there-
Like,
It's like 15 or something, it's a pretty significant number,
that are directly appointed by the government?
right.
You know, you think that they're directly appointed by the government, they have taxing power.
Yeah, that's
That's
just
scary.
crazy.
Right.
so accountability back to the people, so.
Okay, other questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, we look
Thank
forward to
you.
working together on, this issue, appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. Okay, 7.2, approval of purchase agreement for 409 Shimcor.
Mr. Mayor, council members, if you recall, after the last meeting, city council had instructed staff to make a verbal offer to, the property owner at 409 Shimcor. So the city attorney then, the property owner was willing to work with the city of Mayor. So the city attorney did draft the attached purchase agreement for that lot at 409 Shimcor. The city attorney has forwarded the agreement to the seller for their review and approval. The seller would like to make the following change. They would like earnest money amount to be $7,500 that would be non-refundable if the lot is not purchased. Staff is requesting council direction on the purchase agreement and the request for the non-refundable earnest money.
Well, we spend hours trying to cut the budget and cut everybody's budget, and I don't wanna risk $7,500 if we don't sell our lot. I think it's unreasonable.
I agree.
Have we heard anything on the sale of ours? No, we haven't, and I had emailed them also today, but, I didn't get a response back. I know that they had told me that, it was February 11th, I believe, when I sent that last one to the realtor, and he said it would be a week to 10 days. So I would think we should be hearing sometime this week on that lot sale.
And it sounded like the interested party is also looking at another property
Which interested
from the email on our corner lot.
Oh, they were, it said another property in Carver County, or in the county, yeah,
That's the way I read it anyway, that they're weighing their options.
yeah.
Right, they're looking at the cost, market cost.
Right.
So I don't know if you wanna go back with this purchase agreement and $1,000 earnest money and leave it as that be the offer that's not non-refundable. I mean,
I'm not crazy about $7,500 non-refundable. I think that's,
you know, in his email, he states that the city asked him to take it off the, market. Well, we didn't ask him to take it off the market, for 60 days. He didn't ask, as his rationale for the money. We didn't ask him to take it off the market. We asked him.
I thought it said more like they would be, they would be taking it off the market for the 60 days, and they had nice offers, and
The city is asking us to take it off the market for 60 days.
while we wait for the other
Right.
person's answer.
Right.
is that, or is that just a standard timeline for a purchase agreement? That the purchase agreement is,
Well,
yeah, is that, or is that just something that typically goes with it?
I think in this purchase agreement, Hubert probably gave us 60 days to make a decision on whether we wanted to buy it or not, based on, we're saying we want 60 days till our lot sells, and that's how he's coming up with the 60 days. I don't,
But we did want time.
yes, no, that was one of our contingencies, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I guess he put in a closing date shall be April 30th, so it would be about 60 days, so that's what, no, I agree, I don't think we can go out on a limb and put that base $7,500 out there. Personally, I'm not quite sure if there is a second buyer in the room or not. I have my own thoughts on that, I'm not quite sure if there is actually another buyer there right now, so maybe not, so. Okay, so if we're not gonna do anything, we just can, do we need a motion of this or not?
You need a motion whether you're gonna purchase the lot or not, and what you're gonna go back and offer. I mean, are you,
Well, our purchase agreement, they've got a purchase agreement, we're
but
not.
we have not officially acted on a purchase agreement? We've not officially acted on a purchase agreement. You just directed me to make him an offer, so now
He
you.
countered.
And he countered back, but you need to.
Oh, I thought we had,
Yeah, we haven't signed a purchase agreement yet, so we need authorization, for a signature on a purchase agreement for that lot. If we're gonna move forward.
I guess I'd be open to a motion to go ahead with the purchase agreement with the $1,000 earnest money as we said, but no non-refundable deposit.
That's what we've already
Yeah, that's what we've already
motioned.
agreed to.
So no motion, it stays the same,
Well,
right?
we still need to authorize the mayor to sign this.
Okay.
I really think,
I thought we
did.
had too, so.
I thought you just authorized me to make a verbal offer, and so I think that it just to be
Check
safe,
the
we
minutes.
make a motion to have,
That's
to
fine.
go ahead with the purchase agreement.
Okay, so is that,
With the original,
original purchase agreement,
the original condition.
yep. So is there a motion to that effect? Is there a second? So we have a motion and a second then that we, proceed with the purchase agreement as we originally discussed it, that being the, was it 184,000? And the $1,000 earnest money.
And
And,
the condition that we sell it.
And with the contingency that we sell ours first. So any further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Did you say? You oppose it, okay. I vote aye, so motion carried, 3-1. Okay. 7.3, approval of City of Mayor 2016 Water Resource Education Plan.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the city every year enters into an agreement with, Carver County, Watershed District to, do the educational component of our water management plan. So they have again came forward with the plan, and we added to the plan this year the Facebook, that we would use Facebook as an avenue to be able to advertise to the residents. And again, we're staying with some of the same, issues, it's stormwater, rain barrels, grass clippings in the yard, education on stormwater ponds. Salt, I think salt was another one that we had talked about a little bit, and water conservation. So we'll continue again, like I said, to advertise on the electronic sign or in a newsletter if we do a newsletter, but, staff's requesting, council approval of the proposed 2016 education plan. So this is the third year that we've done this with Carver County.
Looks fine to me, I don't, there's nothing other than, oh, here's, okay. Kyle, you have any add about this, since you're directly involved with the water?
So maybe we should do some kind of a door hanger that you can hang on doors when you're going around and you see people blowing in the,
Why are we approving this? Why can't we just do that?
it's part of the water management plan. like, we just bring it before you so that you know what we're doing with your plan. You've approved your plan, so this is now what we're gonna do for the residents. So I bring it here just because it's for your input. Is there something that we're missing? Is there something more that you would want?
I think this is something that's,
Yeah, I'm not, I had the same question, why are we approving this? Because
Yeah.
it's something that I'd expect staff to do.
Okay, you can do that, but I always just bring it here just because if there's something you want
That,
your
and
residents
that's fine,
educated about.
that's fine, but
Well,
I think,
I didn't know about this. I don't remember when, you know, if I was part of those conversations. But, I mean, I agree, like, I don't know a lot of these things, you know? I don't, now being on city council, I understand how it all works together. But as a resident, I mean, that was just, I had no idea. I mean, I know that I'm not supposed to put grass clippings in the street, but I didn't realize why. Like, I just know that when I mow, I need to make sure that, well, I don't know what he does, but that, you know, he does it a certain way. That there's reasons why, and that's just things that people, I think, they don't know.
When you educate, is there a way to show an impact on their water bills? You know, this is how much more it will cost us to, if we continue to have the grass clipping. I mean, I'm just curious.
I guess I'd like to
There's
think
a way
about that.
to-
There might be a way, because of cleaning and storm sewers or something, I suppose, that would be like that. It is.
Is there an impact?
Yeah.
Just environmental? Okay. Okay. So pretty much just environmental, nothing as far as their pocketbooks, taxes.
Again, this is where you implement that $2 a month stormwater fee that we use when we use that money for, and so if storm sewers get plugged because of, then the stormwater fee's probably gonna go up.
I don't know, I just feel like that's a good way to get people's attention.
you said you're gonna put it into a newsletter or something?
If we do a newsletter, we'll put some kind of an article in there about something.
I would say the newsletter would be a good thing to do in addition to Facebook. If there's something written and just kind of detail all these things, why not the rest of it?
But I think not just putting in articles, if people are gonna just blow by it. And you hear like, oh, it affects your rivers and streams, but it's also, you're paying for that. I mean, the more crap that's going in there, it's gonna affect you financially at some point. You know, maybe trying to do more of a like, city mayor works hard to make sure that, you know, I don't know, and do more of, like, it really does affect just us. 'Cause you know what, some cities like do that spray paint where it's like only water down the drain. I don't remember where I've seen that, like right on the backs of the curbs where they spray paint it. But even like dog poop in the street, that rinses down into the storm sewer and that.
Well, and all our storm sewer goes to Pearl River, so, I mean, then when we have issues with Pearl River and that kind of thing, then Guarantee County can start throwing stuff in the water.
Mhm.
Never know. No, cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just posted something on Facebook about, and I don't even remember what it was about now, but, and it had a YouTube video with it and everything that related back to this.
Okay,
So that would be sort of the same thing, so maybe something about grass clippings that relates, and then people will get told why, but we can maybe include something about, we're just trying to head off any, increase in, fees or taxes to the residents because of storm sewers being clogged or whatever. Let me work on
Fines.
something.
Yeah, I mean, that's good, 'cause people read that and they're like, oh, I didn't know.
Reduce phosphorus. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we have extra limits on phosphorus on the whole soil treatment facility, because
Well, this doesn't go to the
phosphorus,
center too.
you add phosphorus
Yeah.
which consumes dissolved oxygen from the state.
Okay, so you can go ahead with your,
Yep.
what you've got all lined there. Good.
As long as you're okay with all the issues we're gonna do.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, 7.4, authorization for fire chief to sell the 1987 International Fire Truck.
At the April 13th, 2015 city council meeting, the city council authorized the fire chief Metzel to sell the excess fire equipment. And I attached the resolution so that you could see it. Chief Metzel has had an offer for the 87 International Fire Truck in the amount of $5,500. He thinks that he can negotiate a higher amount for the city and is requesting authorization to negotiate with the proposed buyer. He would also like to have direction from the council on a minimum price that he can accept for the 87 International Fire Truck. So, I know that he talked about, he talked about $10,000 and then the guy came back and offered him only $5,500. I think Rod talked about that when he was here in April of 2015. So what do you want him to do? He wants some directions on the sale of that truck.
What, the minimum price, I don't know, unless somebody else has got a better, I have absolutely no idea what a minimum price would be on a fire truck. So I guess I'm not gonna venture that. I'd be happy with whatever he can negotiate, is fine.
And if that's what you want me to tell him, then I will. Okay.
He's the expert on it,
Yeah, and he can,
whatever he feels comfortable with.
How long has he had it out for sale?
I think since, shortly after we took possession of our other truck, so
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Get rid of it.
yeah, so I think just,
And Rod will get the top dollar for it because he knows that money's going back into the fire truck fund, which is, he knows it's going back into his future fund.
it's your truck, yeah,
Yep, so,
so that's fine. Do we need a motion on that to,
not if you're okay with me just telling him, I
no,
can do that.
that's fine.
Okay.
That's, I don't need, it's,
Okay.
we're not setting any kind of minimums, anything like that with it, so. Okay, for your information, and that's stuff on the
And then I didn't put,
so,
it's on the it's on the fire department's para, and then I didn't put the, 2015 Carver County Sheriff's Department report simply because you accept it every month. So I didn't
Right.
think you needed to do the year end,
No.
that's why I gave it to you this way.
okay, is there anything else that needs, any council reports?
Wait, with the EDA, since I've been here, unless you guys talked about it. Cause I wasn't here the last meeting.
Jerry wasn't at the meeting either. So, we just talked about doing some more marketing again, and
Yeah.
reaching out to
Okay.
businesses, and how can we promote some of the businesses within the community, is what we talked about. So the EDA has me sending letters to all of the businesses in town to request from them, what do they want us to do? What, is there some marketing we can do? And we came up with a couple of ideas where we do new resident packets, is there something we can put in there that alerts the residents of the community, the new residents of the businesses we have. The ADA also did a newsletter, quite a few years ago. And so I will take that back to them again now and see if they wanna do just a newsletter on the EDA and why we have it. And then on the inside was a list of all the businesses, like their business cards and different information. So that's kind of that's what they're working on right now, is trying to, come up with some different ways to promote the city.
Just question, since we've got a school in town, is there a way that school can get, I mean Zion can get a little blurb and something in the resident packet too?
Sure. And they're included in the people that I will contact, will be the
Okay.
Lutheran High and the Zion School. And last time, Zion School put a little, they had a card and contact information
Okay.
in the newsletter. So yes, I will be sending them a letter.
Okay,
But we don't meet until April, so I've sent some emails to some of the businesses, but have it on my to-do list to get letters out to
Okay.
the rest of them, and I will.
so right now, there's no new resident packet that gets handed out?
Yes, there's a new resident packet that goes out to every resident. It's got a letter in it about who's on the council, water and sewer rates, it's got all the electrical, utility information, the compost site, it's got information about the city, the fire department. It's got information then is about, elites, when garbage pickup is, when, recycling is. We put things in there about, watering restrictions. There's information in there about the Kugler site, where they can take things for recycling. So it would just be maybe another 2 pieces of paper that we would add to that new resident packet of, these are the mayor businesses in town, and maybe what they offer, or something to that effect.
I guess that, we'd like to see that in there. I mean, that'd be good for this.
It used to be that they all had, and I remember Zion had a little card that was in there, and Lutheran High probably had a card that was in there, you know?
I don't think.
So we quit putting all that in?
I don't know exactly for sure what Lois thinks, because she does it, but I don't think we do put those in there. I don't know if those cards ran out, and they just didn't ask for more, or.
I mean, that's like our
Yeah.
first, like, and probably only chance that we have to really explain things. I'd like to just, I mean,
Some of
look
that
at, I'd like
got-
to look at it,
Some of that got a little messed up, didn't it, because of Welcome Neighbor? And
Yes.
then Welcome Neighbor wanted to, and they
That's
had
part
all
of it.
the,
I think that's.
they had
that's
all the
why.
little business
Yes.
things with the cards
Yeah.
and stuff,
Right.
but I don't even know if they do it anymore.
Yes,
But
they
that's-
still do it, they still do Welcome Neighbor, but we thought that this would be another way for the city just to promote our businesses. And even if it's just a list of the businesses with the contact
And what they
information
do,
of what they
yep,
do, and a phone number, so they can call and they say, oh, we didn't know we have a dog room or a dog, oh, we didn't know there was
Perfect.
a school, or we didn't know we had an auto body shop, or whatever.
Mhm.
Yes,
That's
just
good.
to alert people, so that's what the EDA is working on.
on the welcome page, make sure you say, make sure to like us on Facebook, and, you know, like some of those new things that we have, check out the electronic sign, get the, Herald Journal to see, we have a mayor city notes, you know, like, different ways where you can find information about the city, 'cause, yeah, the website is good, but sometimes I don't think it's always 100% up to, like, what we're doing today, you know?
It's more of a place to go for information.
Correct, but there's not like immediate, like what's going on right now. I know people read when you put the agendas, 'cause I've had people contact me, you know, should I come to this council meeting, is it gonna involve me? And
On
then I,
Facebook.
I know we talked about it probably about a year ago, about getting some sort of an email delivery system to all the residents. And that's something we need to look at, either just on a monthly basis, so monthly emails, what's going on.
Should I put that on the EDA's agenda for April and let them?
yeah, I mean, I know there's an
discuss it, see where they
expense
wanna
to it, but it might be, you know, people can choose to sign up for the email listing, and that's just another way that people, you know, can get information.
And even get the information
The
about
park
the
board,
water
you could
stuff.
say, hey, we got new volleyball courts here's what's going on this month. We're gonna do a fun, you know, volleyball scrimmage tonight to, you know, open up the new volleyball courts, come see us.
There's the possibility of having, or letting the businesses use that as an avenue to advertise an event that's coming up. If you're sending out a monthly email with upcoming events,
You do a monthly thing and you just list out the different events, and maybe you can put in some links.
and it's up to them to call you before a certain time, or it just doesn't get on there. It's nothing that I think staff should be like, you know, you were gonna call me back, but you didn't call me, and
No.
I'm getting ready to send that out. Nope, it's done, it's it's sent, and you missed it, you know?
Yeah, and then people
They
can
have to do it
unsubscribe
on
if they
time.
want, or subscribe, so the
Yeah.
people that are on the email list have the ability to have the information or not.
And then it's
just
just
another
one
resource.
email with
Yeah.
all the information and hit send.
So maybe I'll put that on the EDA's agenda
Yeah, I
for
think we
April,
just
and
were
then I'll
discussing-
come, remember I had a price? I had some
Yeah.
information about the school, how the school did it, and I had a couple other things that I brought forward to you. So I will bring that to the EDA and let them maybe do
Yeah,
a
it
little
would
more
make some
research
sense to
and work on
revisit
it.
that.
Okay.
Cool.
And maybe that would even prompt some other businesses that we have in town that are home businesses that people don't know about, that maybe will get involved and get the word out there too. And get them a little more publicity,
Right.
which is, I'm sure we have a lot of those, so, okay, yeah, do that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Neo.gov with the, performance evals, are we anywhere with that, or?
Well, remember, we were gonna do it, we tried to, we couldn't, and I emailed them and asked them to send me a PowerPoint, and they haven't.
Okay.
So I'll follow up again with a phone call to them tomorrow and find out where they're at.
I'd
And
like-
maybe we can do that, well, you're gonna be here in March. I'll find out, let me find out, Eric, I'll follow up on it.
I would like, if we're gonna do that, I'd like to see that get started as soon as we can get that going, so we can implement that too.
Yeah, I will follow up and find out where yep.
Okay, anything else? Okay, if not, is there a motion to adjourn? A second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.